Welcome to Houston Sports Talk with your host, Robert Land.
Thanks for checking into the best Houston sports podcast, part of the National Bleav Network. And joining me is a face every Astros fan should recognize, but do you? If you haven't figured it out yet, I'm going to explain in a bit. He's also starting a brand new Houston area reality competition series where local athletes can win $100,000. I want to welcome in somebody named Dustin Jones, and we're going to find out who he is in just a second. But I met him nearly 20 years ago, and there's a story behind all that, which we're going to get into. But Dustin, really great to see you, man.
Yeah, it's good to see you as well. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, if those of you watching on YouTube haven't figured out why yet, you might know Dustin's face. Let's see if this will help you out a little bit. Now, for those listening on an audio app, Dustin is the Astros fan who was the mansplaining meme. And Dustin, let's get it from you. What is the full story behind this? Because we've never talked about this, and I Bleav it goes way back to 2011, right?
Yeah, it does. The midget was this tall. I'm just kidding. I really have no idea what we were talking about. Like, we were just talking, telling stories and stuff when that picture was taken. So I actually have no idea what I was talking about.
A few years ago, you owned a Houston sports bar. Were you getting recognized out in public, or do you now get recognized?
Oh, yeah. I've had multiple situations where people have come up to me and been like, I recognize you. One of the best stories, one of my good friends I grew up in my whole life, he brought his nephew from Austin to an Astros game. We were sitting in the seats, and I could see him tugging on my buddy's shoulder, on his sleeve, and he was like, hey, he's the baseball meme guy. And so it was very funny there at the game, that he kind of put it all together. So yeah, I get it. And I get a new meme once or twice a week, especially when good stuff comes out, and they make a new one. I still get, messages from all my friends when the good ones come out.
Do you have a favorite in all the memes that you've seen over the years?
Oh, absolutely. Side chick is still the best one ever. I love it. I still get that one constantly. People think it's new and they'll send it to me. Have you seen it? Do you know which one I'm talking about?
I don't think so. I've seen a couple of them, but that's not one of them I've seen yet, I don't think.
It's a food truck that only sells chicken, and they park it in a Chick-fil-A parking lot, and they only open on Sunday, and they call it Side Chick.
Was this girl, was she a date or a girlfriend, or, and what was her reaction when this whole thing blew up?
We dated for quite a while, a couple of years, and then on and off. We didn't really talk when it came out. We had already gone our separate ways and weren't really talking anymore when it came out. So we've never really had a conversation about it. And now she's married with kids. She's great. Like, we didn't have a bad out. We just never really talked about it. Didn't want to cross any lines talking to her while she was married with kids and stuff. So
did you think mansplaining was a fair depiction of what was going on? Or what did you think when you saw the video?
Well, the very first one wasn't very nice. The very first one said, and it was at this point that his bro tails didn't justify his dad's oil money or something similar to that. It wasn't very nice, and it wasn't very funny. I didn't care. I thought it was funny, and that's how we kind of put two and two together. Somebody that knew me but didn't really know me. And we think that it was a photographer. I was in the nightclub business for a long time, and there's always photographers that would come in and take pictures, all over the place. And they had, day jobs too that were probably in sports. And I kind of think I know who it was, because the way that he talked about it and the way that he made the first meme about my dad's oil money and the bro tails weren't worth the, daddy's money kind of thing. You could kind of tell this person, just knew me enough, but my dad wasn't in oil. He was in the steel business. So that's why I say there's that caveat, where they think they knew me, which wasn't the case.
Is this the first time have you been public about this before? Because I've never heard you tell the story at all.
Yeah, I've done a couple of shows that brought it up. I did Hell of Houston not long ago, and they were all excited about it. And it was a great show. They're great people over there too. And I've done a couple of other podcasts as well, Sports with Balls, and talked about it. Not really at depth though. It's always in segue to something else.
What do you think people miss about that whole thing? Or is there something that you feel like is missed in the whole scene when people look at it?
Not at all. Well, if you look at her, and anybody that really knows her, you can see she's smiling. Like, she has like this smirk, and like it's cute. It's one of her trademarks, kind of that you can see she's smirking in it. And they're like, oh, there's a ton of nasty comments about, man, why is he got his hand around her neck? And why is he grabbing her neck like that? And I'm like, man, I'm sitting at a baseball game with my hand around my girlfriend's neck, having a conversation, and they take the picture out of context. It had to have been a pretty good story. And I'm passionate. And so when I'm telling stories, I'm using my hands and I'm being, expressive. So no, it was good.
Yeah, just so people know, Dustin, huge Astros fan. I assume you went to a ton of Astros games too. So this was normal for you to be out at an Astros game and just having fun and, having a date or whatever.
Certainly. Yeah, I'm going tonight. I go to a lot of games.
And like I said off the top, we met around 20 years ago. Here's the story. A friend of mine who's actually very close friends with my original Houston Sports Talk co-host and my best friend, RG Seal, the guy who started this whole thing with me. His friend was an investor in a Midtown nightclub that I'd hang out at, and you were the door guy. Of course, we all kind of knew each other through other people, but I remember having my only chance to ever talk with Robert Horry at that club. And if memory serves me, I walked up to him and just thanked him for all the great Clutch City memories. So that was something I will never forget, just getting to meet Robert Horry and Dustin. For the diehard Rockets fans, they'll appreciate that I got a selfie with preseason Rockets legend Vasily Spanoulis. If anybody remembers, do you remember him?
Spanoulis, yeah, of course.
Yeah, he was there one night. Anything that you remember from those days? Because there were sports figures kind of coming in and out quite a bit, right?
Being a door guy like in the Houston nightlife for as long as I met everybody. El Caballo used to bring me bats in the back of his trunk. I remember one night he walked up, Dustin, how's it going? And dabbed me off, and he handed me his keys. I thought he was being funny or that it was like a valet joke because he had been in there plenty of times, and he hands me the keys. He goes, I got something in the trunk. And I was like, oh, cool. So I go to the trunk, and there's like 7 bats. I walk back inside, and I hand him his keys. I was like, what do you want me to do with the bats? And he was like, get any one of them, like take whichever one you want. And he had signed them all, and I still have that bat. Working in the nightlife, they really appreciate, the service industry because they spend plenty of time out and they know where they want to go, where they're being taken care of, and where they're not going to be, bombarded by people and pestered. They want to enjoy themselves, and they always felt comfortable where I was working. So I had a ton of athletes come all the time, and met some really great people.
Yeah, we're about to talk a little bit about the reality competition that you're doing, but you had told me back in the day that you were doing some MMA fighting. Tell me about what you were doing at that time.
I started in mixed martial arts and then went on to box, but I had never really had any formal training. I actually got into a fight, not necessarily a fight, but into an altercation with a guy who had come into the bar who was like 6'6", like a massive man. He tried to grab me, and he and I started fighting. And right after the fight, or after the altercation, Sam Hoger from the UFC walks over to me, and he had been at the nightclub all night, and walks over and he goes, hey man, I would love for you to come fight on my next card. And I was like, I would love to, but I'll have no training. He's like, well, come work out with me and train with me. And he's like, we'll go from there. And so I did. I trained with him for about 4 months, and then I fought on his card. My very first professional fight that's how I got it. I signed the deal right there in the parking lot of Escobar nightclub.
You're not exactly, you said he's 6'6". You're not exactly small either. How big are you? You're around 6'2", 6'3" or something like that?
No, 5'10". I'm a small guy. I fought at 160 and 158 my entire career. I walk a little bit bigger than that. I'm about 175, but no, I'm not a big dude. So it looked even crazier that this massive man and I were fighting in the street, of this nightclub. When Sam saw it, he was like, man, this is like David against Goliath kind of thing. And so he came over there, and we're still great friends. Sam's been a huge help. He actually helped me on the on Athletic 100, produce the show. It's been really good.
Yeah, it just seemed bigger to me because I'm so small, I guess.
Well, I appreciate that.
And RG, who was my original co-host, he's 6'4". So we always look like Mutt Jeff walking along when we were in high school together, and to this day. So he's pretty good size himself. We got to talk about this new reality competition because this sounds great. A $100,000 prize. We're going to hit on that in a second, but just want to ask our listeners, who would you guys like to see the Astros trade for at the deadline? Let me know in the YouTube comments. We just had Astros Future on talking about the Astros draft and the trade deadline. So go check that out look for our YouTube shorts. I'm putting up shorts all the time. So if you need a quick break at work, check them out. Don't forget that with the Texans preseason starting a week from Saturday, I'm once again doing live Texans post-game shows, but instead of right after the afternoon games, we're planning on doing them at 9 p.m. So that way, if you're hanging with the friends or at the game, you can join us live Saturday or Sunday night, whichever night they play, and interact with us. And make sure you're subscribed on YouTube so you can get those notifications. And you can also get updates on all the post-game shows by just having that subscription and the notifications checked off. And you also want to subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app as well. All right, Dustin, you've got this new reality competition series for local athletes. What gave you the idea to do this?
I've always been a competitor. Played football, then went on to fight professionally. I wanted something that wasn't just luck, that was to pure failure, to find out who the number one athlete was. And not just the biggest or the strongest or the fastest, but the best all-around athlete, the number one athlete. And so all of the challenges that we do are to failure. Like I say, we took hundreds of athletes, whittled it down to the show itself starts with about 30. We had already kind of narrowed it down from there. And they go through a series of elimination challenges until just one wins. And this Sunday will be the finale, 6 p.m. on Sunday, Athletic 100 show on YouTube. Just YouTube it, Athletic 100. It'll pop up as soon as you type it in. The finale will be this weekend. We'll find out who the winner of the $100,000 was and who the number one athlete is.
What are some of the events? I mean, tell me about, how it works, how this whole thing works.
Sure. So it started with a gasser. They ran 50-yard sprints. In the first round, they had 20 seconds. And then they had 19 seconds, and then 18 seconds, and went all the way down to 10 seconds, and we capped it. And they just continue running 50-yard sprints until everybody fails. The next one, we went to a pull-up bar challenge where they'll get on 2 pull-up bars and they'll start. And then in 10 seconds, they'll move up to the next bar. And then 10 seconds, they'll move back down to the lower bar. They'll continue doing that until everybody falls. The winner of it, Josh Holland, the Marine, just an absolute specimen of an athlete. I think he lasted around 11 minutes. I mean, if you've ever seen any kind of the gimmicks and stuff, they have like $100 for 90 seconds. At every carnival, every, challenge show, 90 seconds is a long time. This guy goes for almost 11 minutes. Just an athlete. And then they move into a team challenge. They get into teams and they move a wagon with about 1,200 pounds in it. One direction they push it, the other direction they pull it. They have to assemble the wagon and then run and load weights from one end of the arena to the next. So it's full body. From there, they move into like a delegate match. So the teams will have to choose one player from their team to participate in each one of these delegate matches. And one of them, they do a plank relay where everybody lays down into plank position and they go around this track chasing each other until they tag everybody. And one guy moves on. Another one's a dumbbell mountain challenge. They take 100 pounds of dumbbells and they climb up these steps of blocks up to the top and then down to the other side. And it's time limit and they keep going until somebody fails. They have a wheelbarrow challenge where these guys will take a wheelbarrow and they'll run to one end of the arena, load it with a weight, then push it to the other end, load it with another weight, and they end up putting about 365 pounds in the wagon and race each other back and forth till they complete that challenge. There's just some really unique challenges to test them physically, mentally as well, because there's some strategy in it as well. But it wasn't just for, like I said, strong guys or endurance. It's a little bit of everything to really narrow it down to find out who the absolute number one athlete is.
Well, I'm great at the walking to the kitchen and getting a drink of water challenge. That's about as far as I'm just tired listening to all that. Are you going to be doing this on a regular basis? Is this going to be like a yearly?
Yep. We just finished season 1. Like I said, we'll air the finale this Sunday, and then we're in pre-production right now for season 2, which we'll probably start shooting in October. So right now we'll go through a couple of rounds of auditions to bring in some new athletes, but we're going to bring back some of the really good talent from season 1, and then just, continue trying to make the challenges more exciting, more dynamic, a little danger in there, but we're really looking for the number one athlete for season 2 now also. How
can people get involved? What do they need to do?
Sure. So we'll have a audition protocol. They'll go to our Instagram. They'll leave their bio, a short bio. They'll follow us and they'll share it to our page so that we can see what their abilities are. And then we'll individually pick them out from there. Once they've submitted their profile and their bio, we'll reach out to them and invite them to be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm going to put a link to their YouTube channel. You can see a little bit of that. We're going to have, if you're watching this on video, you'll see a little bit of that as Dustin's talking. But also, is there a way for people to connect with you through social media, ask you any questions or anything like that?
Certainly. The Instagram is our most popular, Athletic 100, just like it sounds. But then also my personal DZJ Quick, both of them I'm extremely active in, talking to everybody about the competition and the season. So they're welcome to reach out on either one, DZJ Quick or Athletic 100.
I can't let you go without asking you an Astro question. How do you feel? Can they get through all these injuries and figure out a way to get to the playoffs and win the whole thing this year?
Absolutely. At the beginning of the season, I remember I've got some friends in the organization, and I told them, I was like, listen, we're good. And they're saying, man, we're so young. We've kind of pulled this team apart. I said, you're right. But those guys have been waiting to show who they are. Like, they have it. And we saw it right before the All-Star break. We were just crushing it. We had a little rough patch, but now we're righting the ship, and we've still got all of these guys who haven't even played. They're still coming back off the bench, coming off injuries. Jordan hadn't played a game yet this season. We've got some heat coming, and I think the team's great. It reminds me of the 17 team. Young guys, hungry, want to get there, and really catching our momentum right at the right time for the playoffs could be huge for us. And we could run right through it because these guys have the legs. They've got the endurance, to go the distance.
Yeah, I was talking with RG the other day, and I was saying, yeah, I'm not feeling like this is our year. It's like a lot of things have got to happen in the next few months to, 2 months really now to get it right. And it's just, there's all these injuries that are weird and we don't know if they're going to come back. I mean, Paredes, I just doesn't look like he's going to come back. Jake Myers, I worry about that type of injury that just kind of lingers and he's never quite right the rest of the year. And same thing with Jordan, which has like been the strangest injury I've ever seen from a hand from a big guy. And then the pitching is also concerning. And really, I don't know what you think, Dustin, but like with the pitching, my concern is the fact that these relievers are going to get worn down because the starters are only giving you 4 or 5 innings. And I don't know how long it's going to take for these other guys, even if they come back, the Eric Gettys and the Garcias and the Javiers, to ramp it up to where they can start going 6 innings. And is the bullpen going to be gassed by then? You
mentioned earlier the deadline coming up. Like, that's the move. We have to get some pitching, and we have the money. Like I said, we're not spending it on anybody right now. We've got a bunch of young talent that we're not spending a lot of money on. Let's open up the checkbook and buy us some pitchers.
Well, great stuff from Dustin. Remember to go check out every place that you can find him, especially his channel on YouTube, and see what they're doing over there. It's Athletic 100, $100,000 prize. Thanks so much for doing this, Dustin. Great to see you and good to catch up.
You bet, Robert. Thanks for having me.
You're listening to Houston Sports Talk.
Hey, don't forget to support us by subscribing and commenting on YouTube. You can always listen to us on Spotify, Apple, or your favorite podcast app. Tell your friends about us and share our show links on social media. Spread the word, everybody. Thanks for listening.